European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has warned that the European Union is prepared to push back against Donald Trump's tariffs. Europe resists and reacts to efforts by the US government to eliminate diversity, equity and inclusion, or DEI initiatives in the continent.
The leader of the far-right National Rally, Marine Le Pen, was found guilty of embezzling public funds and was barred from running for office for 5 years.
Tensions between the US and the EU escalate ahead of what Trump calls Liberation Day. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has warned that the European Union is prepared to push back against Donald Trump's plans to impose sweeping reciprocal tariffs on all US trading partners. Speaking before the European Parliament, von der Leyen emphasized Europe's leverage in negotiations, citing its vast single market and economic strength.
That we have everything we need to protect our people and our prosperity. We have the largest single market in the world. We have the strength to negotiate. We have the power to push back.
Von der Leyen criticized the proposed tariffs, warning they would raise consumer prices, destroy jobs, and harm both US companies and global trade. She described the measures as counterproductive to Trump's goal of reindustrializing America. The EU is already preparing countermeasures after delaying retaliation against earlier US tariffs on steel, aluminium, and cars. Von der Leyen urged unity among EU leaders, stressing that while Europe did not start this confrontation, it is ready to act decisively.
We think it is wrong. We do not necessarily want to retaliate, but if it is necessary, we have a strong plan to retaliate and we will use it.
Last year, the EU recorded a €156 billion trade surplus with the US, but a €108 billion deficit in services. Efforts by the US government to eliminate diversity, equity and inclusion, or DEI initiatives in Europe have not gone down well in the continent. The European Commission acknowledged awareness of a letter sent by the US administration urging companies to drop DEI programs.
We are aware of the letter that was sent by the US administration to the companies. We need to know a bit more details before we react. And as you know, and as you've pointed out, anti-discrimination and equality is based on our main values.
In France, resistance has been particularly strong after reports emerged that the US State Department demanded that French companies abandon inclusion policies, which are part of national as well as EU law. Le Figaro published what it claimed was a copy of the letter, stating that an executive order signed by President Donald Trump in January applies globally to all suppliers of the US government. French Foreign Trade Minister Laurent Saint-Martin told RTL Radio that France would not compromise on these principles. Belgium also pushed back against perceived US interference. Finance Minister Jean Jambon declared, "We have no lessons to learn from the leader of America." In a joint statement, Belgian Foreign Minister Maxime Prévost and Equal Opportunities Minister Rob Beenders condemned the move as a step backward, asserting that diversity and inclusion strengthen economies and societies. In Spain, Barcelona's mayor announced his municipal government will defy Trump's rollback of DEI initiatives, which had impacted cultural programs hosted by the city. Across Europe, leaders have stressed that diversity and inclusion are non-negotiable, a reflection of deeply held values rather than mere buzzwords.
The leader of the far-right National Rally, Marine Le Pen, was found guilty of embezzling public funds and was barred from running for office for 5 years with immediate effect. The sentence has effectively barred her from running in the 2027 presidential race, even if she appeals, something she described earlier as political death. 8 National Rally MEPs and their 12 assistants have also been found guilty and barred from running for office. Le Pen and the 24 other members have been accused of using money intended for European Parliament aides to pay staff who worked for the party. The court estimated that the European Parliament's total loss was €2.9 million, with Le Pen personally embezzling almost $500,000.
Italian political leaders have shown mixed reactions to the news that a French court has barred Marine Le Pen from running in the 2027 presidential election after her conviction for embezzlement, given that Marine Le Pen is one of the most prominent figures of the European far right. Her conviction has left a mark on Italy's right-wing government, starting with Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who reacted by saying, quote, that those who care about democracy won't celebrate the news as it targets the leader of a large political party, and she said it deprives millions of citizens of political representation. But while Brothers of Italy and Forza Italia adopted a more moderate tone, Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini reacted strongly. His League party, in fact, is part of the Patriots for Europe political group in the European Parliament, alongside Le Pen's Rassemblement National party. Salvini, a longtime friend of Le Pen, shared a selfie with her on his X account using the hashtag Je soutiens Marine, I support Marine, and wrote a comment in French saying, quote, that those who fear the judgment of voters take comfort in court rulings. Salvini also said that what happened to Le Pen has occurred in other countries such as Romania, and compared it to, quote, a declaration of war from Brussels, adding that they won't be intimidated and that they won't be stopped by what happened. Giorgia Orlandi for Euronews in Rome.
At least 2 people have been killed and several others injured by Russian attacks across Ukraine, according to local media. 1 civilian was reportedly killed and 5 others injured after Russia struck Zaporizhzhia. The regional governor said the attack destroyed and damaged residential buildings and social facilities. This included dozens of homes as well as a local church and school. A further civilian was killed and another injured by Russian attacks in Donetsk, according to the regional governor there. Other parts of Ukraine, including Kherson, Kharkiv, Sumy and Dnipro, were also reportedly attacked. Ukraine's general staff said Russia launched 2 missiles and 99 airstrikes at Ukrainian units and settlements on Monday. More than 2,000 drones were used for the strikes they added.
One of the missing US Army soldiers in Lithuania has still not been found after the 3 others were recovered dead in their armored vehicle that was pulled from a swamp on Monday, according to US Army officials. One Lithuanian Army official says the Navy dive team is still searching for the missing soldier.
Narai tęsė savo darbą ir nėrė ieškodami pagal tam tikrus požymius vietų, kuriuose galėtų būti karys. Yra naudojami vandens sonarai, per kuriuos bandoma išsiaiškinti, aptikti vietas.
Lithuania's President Gitanas Nausėda said on Monday that the search and rescue mission will continue until he is found. The bodies of the 3 soldiers were recovered after US, Polish and Lithuanian armed forces took 6 days to dig out the armored vehicle over bog in the eastern town of Pabradė, close to the Belarus border. The recovery team faced the challenge of pulling out the 63-ton vehicle in unstable ground conditions. According to the army, the soldiers were on a tactical training exercise when they and their vehicle were reported missing. The US Army and Lithuanian authorities are investigating what caused the incident.
A powerful storm hit the Greek islands of Paros and Mykonos on Monday, triggering widespread flooding and prompting authorities to close schools and impose a ban on all traffic except emergency vehicles. Heavy rainfall in Paros' main towns of Parikia and Naousa caused floodwaters that surged through streets, carrying cars and debris past whitewashed buildings. Authorities on Paros said 13 people stranded in the storm were taken by firefighters to their homes, adding that no one was reported injured or missing. On Mykonos, where the flooding was less intense, excavators were used to clear a path for floodwater, and it gushed past seafront cafes and restaurants. Several islands near Paros in the Cyclades group, which is southeast of the mainland in the Aegean Sea, remain under severe weather warnings through Tuesday.
Belgium has implemented a new regulation this week banning the display of cigarettes and other tobacco products in shops. The measure aims to reduce the visibility of addictive products, hoping to curb impulsive purchases. Under the new rules, supermarkets and stores larger than 400 meter squares are prohibited from selling cigarettes altogether. This initiative is overseen by Health Minister Frank van den Broek.
We have it in French. And so our ambition is to stop this killer. And our ambition is to have a smoke-free generation by 2040.
The campaign already began on January 1st with a ban on disposable e-cigarettes. Shop owners were left to find their own solutions to comply with the law. Some opted for makeshift plastic curtains, while others installed sophisticated shelves that light up when opened. Jenny van Varenberg, a press and tobacco shop owner, expressed frustration over the lack of government support.
C'est embêtant parce qu'ils n'ont pas fourni le matériel. Ils auraient pu nous fournir du matériel nécessaire et correct, voilà. Puisqu'on reste les seuls éléments qui vont vendre du tabac, qu'on respecte bien les règles aussi de vente à quelqu'un qui a bien l'âge. Donc je trouve qu'ils auraient pu faire un effort, même s'ils n'ont pas d'argent. Mais moi j'en ai pas non plus.
Public reactions have been mixed. Smokers like Madak Shatoni, a Brussels student, remain skeptical, arguing that hiding products won't break the cycle of addiction.
Ouais, moi je pense que c'est pas forcément une bonne idée parce que c'est des addictions et dans tous les cas les gens n'arrêteront pas du jour au lendemain parce que ça ne sera plus vu dans les magasins.
The next phase of Belgium's anti-smoking strategy, a proposed ban on smoking in public terraces, is still awaiting legislative approval. While opinions differ, the government remains committed to its long-term goal of reducing tobacco consumption and fostering healthier lifestyles.